What's up, everybody? Welcome into Fantasy Fire and Ice NFL Edition, brought to you by Sportstopia. I'm Simon, joined as always by the highly knowledgeable and incredibly handsome Steezy A Smith and Terrell Furman. What's up, boys?
What's going on, man?
It is another week in the books, another week of crazy football. My pick'em results not much better in week 2 than they were in week 1, but we're getting the hang of it as we head into week 3, baby. We're going to preview some Thursday night football for you today, go over some of our favorite stacks, and then hit some of these game lines that we got going on in a little game of fantasy feud that Steezy and Terrell are going to be going head-to-head in. Before we get into that, I want to remind everybody about the deal we got going on right now. You can check out Fantasy Sports Logic's Contrarian Optimizer for just $1 on a 7-day test drive. As we get into our stacks here, you might hear a little bit more about it. But again, that QR code is going to come up on the screen during today's show. Scan it, $1. You get a 7-day free trial. You can get a head start on setting up your lineups for week 3. With that being said, before we get into our favorite stacks, I did want to hit on something.
Can I have the floor real quick?
Yeah,
because I owe the people an apology. I do. I have to come on here. Last time we were up here, all three of us, I was still reeling from the Giants no-show in week 1. Matter of fact, I'm sorry, preseason week 4 and starting week 1 a week later than everybody else. I came up here. I was very emotional. And when we gave out our stacks, of course, Dan Jones was in my mind. But I couldn't touch them. I couldn't do anything with them. I was over the Giants. I didn't want to talk about Giants. I didn't want anything with Giants. I took all my Giants paraphernalia and I turned it around because I didn't want to look at it for the week. Dan Jones just won somebody $1 million freaking dollars. Dan Jones.
$1 million. He's not tripping over anything that way. He's
in one half
in someone's pocket.
In one half of scoring, he won somebody $1 million.
Wow.
I'm so sorry to the people. If you want to leave a 5-star review and then trash talk me in the review, you may please do that. I welcome it, and I will take that criticism. As the loyalist, the Giants loyalist here, I doubted them in their worst moment, and I will never get over it. So I apologize to you all as my co-host. I apologize to the people. There's no reason I shouldn't have gave out Dan Jones last week. There's no reason.
We stay humble here on NFL Fire and Ice. We own up to our mistakes and we learn from that process.
Yes.
But I'm telling you right now, those emotions are going to get back in the way for me at some point this season because it is 17 weeks. It is a slog, baby. And some team's going to piss me off and I'm going to mess it up again later this year. But a couple weeks, we'll remember that lesson. We got 32-bit stopping by in the chat saying my favorite day of the week. And Stewart calling his shot saying 49ers 35, Giants 7. Just trying to provoke you in the chat, I think. Is what's going on,
he's definitely doing it on purpose. And what's hilarious is I will be sitting with my Giants plus 10 ticket because Kyle Shanahan is 2-4-1 as a double-digit favorite in league. So, it's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. They can go ahead and everybody can doubt the Giants this week. Giants plus 10 in my pocket. Just let you know.
Giants
Come
plus
on.
10.
It's like 5% of the money that's betting on the Giants. They're going to win. They're not going to win, but they're going to cover.
They're going to Giants win. They're going to Giants 2023 season win, which is covering that spread.
We're great at covering on the road.
Before we get into our favorite stacks, I did want to hit on the hottest piece of NFL news going on right now. Unfortunately, we saw Nick Chubb go down to a season-ending injury. Prayers up for that dude. We're hoping that he's able to come back full strength next season. Not just Browns fans, but NFL fans as a whole are behind that man right now. With that being said, we saw Jerome Ford step up in that game, had the big 69-yard run on that beautiful cutback. But the Browns are rumored to be signing what everybody thought was going to happen, Kareem Hunt, by the end of the day. Mary Kay Cabot reporting that. Steezy, I want to throw this one your way first. What are you making of this Browns backfield? Jerome Ford was the waiver wire darling this week, probably commanding the most fab out of anybody. But now they go and sign Kareem Hunt, who had limited success in that backfield last year, but knows the system. Do you think one of these backs is the clear lead back, or is this going to be a messy committee situation?
Nah, I'd have to go with the latter. I've seen a couple people just, and I'm speaking based on some of the leagues that I'm in. I've seen people spend 60 to 70% of their available fab budget for a Jerome Ford. But now after signing a Kareem Hunt, I think they've kind of put some of that money down the drain. I mean, let's say in the next week or two, Jerome Ford is going to be that guy. He's going to get a majority of the snaps. But I think as the season progresses, Kareem Hunt does have the experience playing in that system. Kareem Hunt does have experience playing in that same locker room, playing with some of those same guys. And while he hasn't looked nearly as explosive as he has in years past, that familiarity is still there. And I think that coming out of the backfield, he's probably the preferred pass catching back. And so I say all that to say that Jerome Ford is a guy that you want to start probably this week and possibly next week. But within the next 2 to 3 weeks, as Kareem Hunt gets reacclimated, as he gets his stamina and everything kind of, where it needs to be, this is going to be a pretty messy fantasy situation as the season progresses, especially if Deshaun Watson doesn't start to look like the Houston version of himself.
Joe, you got any more optimism for Jerome Ford, or are you viewing this similarly to Steezy?
It's so funny that Steezy said that because they clearly didn't watch me on the show yesterday. I mean, come on. The Browns with this running back room. I told you, Nick Chubb is the wife. If the wife comes back, he's going back to her. I don't care how good you think you got it. He's going back to her. Now, she done said, I'm done right now. She done took her stuff. She done moved out the house. She back living with her moms and spending time with family and enjoying everything over there. So now they're trying to find somebody to fill the void. Everybody thought it was next in line, Jerome Ford, but here comes Kareem Hunt, the ex-girlfriend, out of nowhere for the oh man. I can only imagine how people are feeling after spending that much fab on Ford off of one run. He was 15 for 37 without that one run.
That 69-yard making him some money, or at least on the fab market.
Right. I don't even know what to say. You just spent 70% of your fab on one run. I mean, I wish the best for you. Hopefully your team was stacked everywhere else and you're not going to need to go and try to accumulate any other free agents. And if not, I hope that you can move forward for something now and maybe get something in return for all the fab you spent. But, oh man, I just, the side piece isn't going anywhere. She's staying there. She's in the background. The ex-girlfriend has now stepped into the wife's position. I just don't know what the Cleveland Browns are going to do, and I don't know how fantasy managers are going to attack this, because for me, it sounds like we need to be getting back on the Kareem Hunt train because he's been here. He knows this offense, and while they haven't been committed to him to sign a contract, when he gets in the building, talent is going to win out, and I think he's still talented.
I'm maybe a little more optimistic on Jerome Ford, at least in comparison to Kareem Hunt going in here. I do think at the end of the season, Jerome Ford is the back that you would have rather had on your fantasy team. That being said, neither one of these backs is Nick Chubb. And this offense was centered not around the running game, but around the Nick Chubb-led running game. They're not going to be able to just plug Jerome Ford, plug Kareem Hunt into the offense the way they wanted to run it at the beginning of this season. This is going to change. Deshaun Watson's going to have to throw the ball more. The player I'm most excited about, I dropped $21 out of 100 fab in a redraft league on a tight end, David Njoku, because I think David Njoku is going to have to be a hell of a lot more involved with Nick Chubb going down and these short yardage passes from Deshaun Watson that maybe would have been Nick Chubb rushes previously. So I don't think it's wasted fab on Jerome Ford. I do think he leads the backfield, at least in rushing attempts, is probably the more valuable fantasy option. But man, I do not think you're just getting that Nick Chubb role handed down to Jerome Ford. It's a different role. And Kareem Hunt's definitely eaten into some of it, at least for me.
So if we look at what Kareem Hunt's done with the Browns when Nick Chubb was out, he has about 5 games to work with, majority in 2020. What's this? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 games to work with, majority in 2020. 20 carries, 72 yards, 13 carries, 40 yards, 18 carries, 76 yards, 14 carries, 66 yards. Wow, he did that twice, actually. 14 carries, 66 yards. That's actually kind of cool. He did that exactly twice. And then, but the touchdowns, they didn't come rushing, actually, believe it or not. So if you do have optimism for Ford, that may be the optimism in the fact that he didn't get the touchdowns via rushing. All his touchdowns were receiving. He had 3 touchdowns in that 5 game span, and all of them were receiving touchdowns. So I think that you're still going to see a little bit of Jerome Ford, maybe at the goal line. Maybe they do trust Ford on the goal line like they did earlier in that game on Monday Night Football. But the passing work, that's going to Kareem Hunt, and I feel very confident about that.
All right, well, guys, if you got more Jerome Ford Kareem Hunt questions, throw them in the chat. We're going to get into our favorite stacks of the week right now. Terrell, I'm going to throw it your way first. You want to let us know what your favorite stack of week 2 is? Because you hit pretty big in week 1 with your all Chargers stack.
Yes, it was a very good stack there. And so we're going to follow it up. We were very chalk in week 1, and that hurt me to my soul. And the fact that I went chalk came again. It went against me because Dan Jones, again, won somebody $1 million. And very confident that if I had Dan Jones in my lineup, I could have been there. We could have split that $1 million. But you know what? It's all right. Congratulations to you. I'm not hating anything like that. I'm going to get it back, and I'm going to get it back in blood. And I'm going with the optimizer. Make sure you tap into that QR code and get the Fantasy Sports Logic optimizer and a 7-day test drive for $1. Optimizer's favorite quarterback in the blended system, CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I am there with CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans, and it's a number of reasons I'm going to say that. One, CJ Stroud actually balled out last week, and he was potentially could have been $1 million quarterback. He, in that garbage time, he was able to spread the ball around all receivers. Everybody got touches, whether it was Nico Collins, whether it was Robert Woods, whether it was Tank Dell. Everybody got close to double-digit targets, if not double-digit targets. And Stroud went out and had a 300-yard passing day, and we saw it. We saw the C.J. Stroud that we were expecting to see coming out of the draft. It just so happens that they were down by 1 million kajillion freaking points by the time it happened, so it wasn't like it mattered for the game. But that's the Stroud we wanted to see, and it was great to see it. And now I look at this matchup with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 9-point favorites at home. Not to mention, the Jaguars have not beaten the Texans at home in 5 years. Maybe I could be wrong about that. It might not be 5. It might be 3. I'm almost positive it's 5.
Yeah, you could have me believe
it is 5
any
years.
Crazy Jaguars or
it
Texans stat that you threw out there. I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
First of all, the Texans have been picking near the top of the draft for the past couple of years. They have not beaten the Texans at home in 5 years. They are 9-point underdogs. Stroud's price is going to be extremely low. So I'm going with CJ Stroud. I'm going to back this Texas team who just somehow, some way finds whatever they can find in Jacksonville. So I'm going to back them because I don't like this Jacksonville Jaguars defense that much. I think this is a letdown spot after playing the Chiefs. And then 9-game losing streak back to 2017. Insane. Just insane. Wow. So here we are. We have Stroud. Now here's where the tough part of trying to figure out who's you're going to stack them with. Number one for me is Nico Collins. I think Nico Collins is number one in that offense. The tough thing about these wide receivers is the fact that it is what? 1A, 1B. Have we seen this before? 1C? 1A, 1B, 1C in the offense.
We got 3 almost double-digit target receivers in this offense 2 weeks now.
And so now I don't want to stack all 3. I don't believe in 3, stacking 3 wide receivers, 3 people in one team. 4 from one game, that's just too much for me. So I'm going with Nico Collins. He's the clear-cut number 1 for me. And for number 2, I think I'm just going to trust the veteran in Robert Woods here. So I'm going with Robert Woods. That's my stack. CJ Stroud, Robert Woods, and Nico Collins. We're going with the Texans versus the Jaguars.
I love
talk about
Robert
Kyrien
Woods in there, baby. I love getting Robert Woods in there. Everyone's so hyped on Nico Collins and rookie Tank Dell, but look at Robert Woods with his 10 targets. Like, that dude's doing work in that offense, and if they're going to keep throwing the ball 45 plus times a game on average, man, all 3 of those guys can eat, which is wild. Hal down here saying, how many passes is CJ throwing this year? A million.
Yeah.
Meant to throw that CJ in there. Well, Steezy, I'm going to throw it to you next. We got that CJ Stroud stat coming from Terrell. I love it. What are you throwing out there for the people this week?
Man, talk about a hot take, Terrell. I love that. I didn't see that coming. I'm not going to lie to you.
Scorching. Thank you to the optimizer.
Shout out to the optimizer. Hey, QR code down there for anybody that wants to tap in. For me, though, I'm going to have to take your stack from last week, Terrell. And if you don't mind, I want to recycle that because
It's all yours.
we all should be recycling. But give me that Chargers stack, man. And what's projected to be arguably the highest scoring game of the week. I haven't verified that, by the way. I'm kind of just going off of projections and whatnot. But Chargers, Vikings, I expect a combined total of at least 60 points. And y'all know me by now, but whenever there's a game that's supposed to be a high shooting game, I want those players. And so I don't know if it's Austin Eckler or Josh Kelly at running back, but let me go with 3 Chargers as well. Justin Herbert, who's yet to turn the ball over this season. Keenan Allen, who's been on an absolute tear, even at his advanced age. I mean, still balling out, still doing his thing. And whether or not it's Austin Eckler or Josh Kelly, I know Josh Kelly had a disappointing week 2. But, I mean, we saw what he did in week 1, and so we know what he's capable of. And then, again, it's a Minnesota Vikings defense that's more aggressive than they are, I'd say, good. Again, there's going to be a lot of points. There's going to be a lot of goal line opportunities. There's going to be fireworks. And so give me Justin Herbert / Austin Eckler / Josh Kelly and Keenan Allen.
There we go. We got a triple Charger stack going back to the well. It worked out last week if you played it. I see a question in here from Z Money saying, would you guys start Tua versus the Broncos or Richardson versus the Ravens? And this is a perfect lead in to my stack. I know that Broncos D is a little bit scary, but I'm giving the full confidence in Tua Tagovailoa going into this matchup. They got Pat Surtain on one side, but you know what? They got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on this Dolphins team. And that's why I'm rolling away from the high-priced, high-ownership Tyreek Hill and onto the only projected ownership 1.1% Jalen Waddle on FanDuel. Wow. And I'm going to say, as the second wide receiver, hopefully seeing a little bit less of Surtain in this game, that he's the dude that eats from Tua, who is just on fire so far this season. So you're definitely spending up for Tua a little bit, but because of that, his projected ownership is a bit lower, hovering around 5% compared to some of these other big-name quarterbacks like a Patrick Mahomes right now. And then you can take the lesser picked of the 2 wide receivers. You don't get the 45-point week 1 Tyreek Hill, but Jalen Waddle is going to have his weeks, and I think against his Broncos defense could be one of them.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, he hasn't had the best statistical start to the season, but he's due, and I could see it happening as soon as this week, Simon.
Take that discount while you can, because Jalen Waddle's price will go up after that big game, and it's coming, baby. Well, those are our 3 stacks. We got that Dolphins stack going up against the Broncos, going back to the well with some Chargers. And then Terrell with the contrarian optimizer stack of CJ Stroud and doubling up on those Texans wide receivers. I love that you got Robert Woods in there. All right, well, guys, we're going to talk about some week 3 games here and some game lines, some betting odds. But in order to do that, I prepared a little game for you guys to go head to head. We're going to be playing some Fantasy Feud. If you've ever watched the TV show Family Feud, it's going to be similar to that. I'm going to propose a category, like name the top 5 rushing leaders from last week. If you guys want to play, you'll buzz in by saying your own name. Then if you give me an answer that's correct, you'll have up to 3 strikes after that to get the rest of them correct. If you miss any of them, your opponent will have the opportunity to steal after 3 strikes by naming one of the remaining on the list. Whoever's got the most points at the end of our game, we got 4 rounds prepped that we can get through, will be our winner. You guys ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Get it.
All right, let's get in there. Our first one, remember, say your name if you want to buzz in and play, is name the 4 road teams that are favored this week.
Braille.
Okay. Braille, what you got?
4 road teams that are favored. Oh, wait, did the line move on that Chargers game? It might have moved. Oh, no, the line.
Got it pulled up here, so I will double check to make sure all of my information is
I don't want to go. I don't want to go Chargers anymore. Road teams that are favored. Oh, crap. Everybody I'm thinking that's at home. Chargers. I'm just going to go Chargers because I'm pretty sure Chargers are -1.
Chargers are currently 1.5 point favorites.
Okay.
Or 1.5 point dogs. I apologize, which means that is not going to be correct. All of these lines are coming to you from the FanDuel Sportsbook as well. So that is 1 strike for you, Rel. But you got 2 more strikes available. 4 options still sitting on the board.
Okay, so let me sit here. Patriots, 100% favored.
Patriots are favored on the road. Patriots favored by 2.5 against the New York Jets in New York, or should I say New Jersey?
Let me see. Carolina's playing Seattle on the road. On the road. They're not favored. The Lions got the pay. Why am I thinking everybody that's at home? The Lions are at home. They're favored. The Packers are at home. They're favored. The Browns play. The Browns play. Who do they? No. Monday Night Football. Eagles. Eagles are definitely favored over the Bucks.
Eagles are
100%.
Eagles are definitely favored over the Bucks. That is 2 correct. You got 1 strike, 2 left sitting on
Okay.
here.
The Browns. Who are the Browns playing? They just won. I know that the Raiders are favored at home on Monday Night Football.
I'm gonna just give it to you, bro. They playing the Titans.
The Titans are. Oh yeah, Vrabel as a road dog is good. The Browns are favored at home, so it's not that one. So I have 2.
Are the Browns actually favored?
Yeah, -3 versus the Titans. I'm
Even
pretty
without
sure
Nick
that's what the
Chubb.
line
Wow.
is. Pretty sure that's what the line is. So
What's
who
it gonna
am I
be, Terrell?
forgetting? This is hard. Holy crap. All right. Who did I not say? The Cardinals. Who are the Cardinals? The Cowboys. Cowboys are playing at the Cardinals, right?
Stole that one from Steezy. Sounds like he had that one locked and loaded. That is correct.
I do.
That is 3 right, 1
Oh,
strike.
crap.
You got 1 more opportunity here, Rel. 1
right.
left, but 2 strikes to get it.
All right. We have who is still left?
I was gonna say if you take too long, I will give you an automatic strike.
Yeah. Is that Ravens game in Baltimore? I'm Ravens. Is that in? No, it's in. Where's
It's
the
in
Ravens game
Baltimore.
at? Oh, it is. Okay, so that's an X.
Ravens is going to be an X in that one. They are home favorites going up against the Indianapolis Colts.
Holy
so you got
crap.
1 more shot.
What game
here.
is left? Oh crap! What game is left? I don't know.
You gonna pass? Give Steezy a shot to steal it, or are you gonna take 1 more shot?
I haven't said this team, and I don't know where they're playing or who they're playing, but I'm just gonna. I assume they're favored in whatever situation. Is it the Bills?
The Bills are 6.5-point favorites on the road at the Washington Commanders. Terrell, you swept this category with 2 strikes.
Oh man,
gonna earn you 4 points over Steezy and an early lead.
Oh man, I was struggling on that Bills one, man. I could not remember who that last team was. All right, that's
I was a little bit surprised by that Bills line. Almost a full touchdown favorite on the road at a Commanders team that hasn't looked bad. They look all right, but I guess they're giving some love to this Bills side. What do you guys think about that line? Do you think it's a little weak on the Commanders side, or is this where it should be sitting?
Man, I feel like they're not giving the Commanders enough respect. I know Denver isn't the greatest of teams, but putting up 35 on that vaunted defense, and then in week 1, look, we all expected Arizona to be the worst team in football. Obviously, that's not the case. They're a little bit more nitty gritty, than we all expected. And so I'm not going to put too much stock into the Commanders struggling against the Cardinals because they're kind of creeping up on everybody, and we all know how that goes. And so I still expect Buffalo to win. I expect Buffalo to win by more than a field goal, but being favored by damn near a touchdown, I think this could damn near be a trap game for the Bills, especially if they let their guard down, because the Commanders, they can score the football. They got options, and man, Sam Howell's not looking too bad.
Well, after that round, Terrell, you got an early lead of 4-0. We'll get that score scrolling across the bottom right here. Terrell 4, Steezy 0, but we got a couple rounds left of this game. Nice job hunting out those road favorites. All right, you guys ready for round 2?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh,
here's what I want to know. Name the 5 games with a total higher than 45.
Ooh.
Say your name if you want to play. Okay, Steezy's playing. What you got for us,
Steezy? Chargers and Vikings won.
Yeah. That is right at 53.5 right now.
Highest total on the board.
53.5. Okay. And then let's go with Buffalo and Washington.
Buffalo and Washington is sitting at 44.5. So that is going to be 1 strike for you, Steezy, and a brutal strike.
That was a good guess, though. That was a good guess.
Yeah, we was just talking about that. Wow. Okay. So there's 3 more. Let's go with Philadelphia and Tampa Bay.
That is sitting at 46. Nice job. Half a point on the other side. That is 2 correct, 3 remaining. You got 1 strike.
And then let's go with this one, Denver, Miami.
Denver, Miami at 47.5. Nice job. That is 3 right, 1 strike.
Okay, and then now this last one.
There's 2 more.
There's 2 more. Sorry. These don't look like Rams and Bengals.
Rams and Bengals, unfortunately, is incorrect. Rams and Bengals is currently sitting at 43.5.
Okay. I got one more guess.
One more guess. That is 2 strikes. Well, you could have more if you get it right, but you got one more wrong.
I probably won't need it. Let's go with let's go with damn. I'm gonna just go. It's on a whim here. Chicago and Kansas City.
Chicago and Kansas City sitting at 47.5. Kansas City, they're like 12.5 point favorites. But they expect Kansas City to score a lot, at least in that one. Nice job. 2 strikes, 1 left. You get this last one, you sweep it, you get it wrong, you give Terrell the opportunity to steal and take a big old lead.
Okay, right here, I'm gonna go with Atlanta and Detroit.
Steezy sitting at 46.5. That is the correct.
I knew he was gonna get it. I knew it. That was the one I was sitting on.
All right, let's go. Come on, baby.
I was a little bit surprised to see that Falcons Lions line up at 46.5 with the rumors around Amon-Ra St. Brown maybe being injured. Steezy, sounds like you're not surprised at all to see it up there.
No, I am. I'm surprised I got it right.
I misread that noise. I thought you were saying, no, man, it should be sitting up there. Terrell, I'm going to throw this to you. What do you think about that line? It feels high to me with the way we've seen this Falcons offense running. It's a slow-paced team right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think it's high enough, honestly. And I think it could actually go a little bit higher. That was the first game that I was thinking about when we had the challenge. And I was just hoping that Steezy didn't get there. But of course, he took me on a tease the whole way until he finally got to the Falcons-Lions game. But yeah, no, I think that this Lions offense is dynamic, is high-powered, and they have so many options that the tough thing about the defense for the Falcons is that they have a really good corner, and then it's kind of man, like, figuring things out. Jesse Bates, he's good. Like, you're kind of figuring things out everywhere else is in the secondary, but you have AJ Terrell, who's really, really good. And so with the Lions, they have so many options. If Amon-Ra goes out, of course he's going to get the Amon-Ra St. Brown matchup. But you also have Josh Reynolds. You also have Sam Laporta. You also have Marvin Jones Jr. You also have Jahmyr Gibbs, who they're going to start throwing more passes to. Like, they have so many options, and Goff is really good about spreading the ball around. And this Falcons team is going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to run the ball. Will it be effective? I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I probably would take a Lions team total over better than the full game over, because I think the Falcons could possibly not score much on the road here. But absolutely, I think the Lions got blood in their eyes after that overtime loss in their home opener, and they're going to come out here furious.
All right, well, Steezy, you got a lead here of 5-4, but there's 2 more rounds left. Before we get into that, there were some questions sitting here in the chat. We were talking a bit about that Commanders team, and Hal wanted to know about one of the running backs there, Antonio Gibson. He's gotten, 5 rushes so far this season. Brian Robinson seems to be the clear lead back there. Steezy, what are you making of this Commanders running back room? And is Antonio Gibson droppable at this point in fantasy leagues?
I'm starting to think so. Once upon a time, Antonio Gibson, I remember, was going in the second, third round of redraft leagues, a couple years ago. And that feels like forever ago. With Gibson, yes, he had 3 catches for 44 yards. And like you said, Simon, he had minimal touches in the actual ground game itself. Now, he could have more usage in the pass game as the season progresses, seeing as how he was a wide receiver coming out of college. But the way that they've been using B-Rob, man, I did not expect this, but he's been used out of the backfield. He's over here catching passes out of the backfield for touchdowns. And he's just been the featured guy. And, earlier we talked about how many points the Commanders offense has been able to put up, through the first couple weeks of the season. And so I think, at this point, Gibson is droppable. If you have a Brian Robinson, shoot, then great for you. I mean, he's been balling. I don't see that stopping anytime soon.
Man, my Brian Robinson shares are real happy, but I also have just as many Antonio Gibson teams out there, and it's not looking so hot for those guys. We had a question in here as well, wanting to know if you picked up Kyrien Williams, and maybe you don't believe you're looking to cash in right now, what are some wide receivers you would be targeting in return? So let's look at like a tier of wide receiver we'd be looking at. Terrell, if you're sending off Kyrien Williams, what are you expecting in return in the wide receiver market?
Well, I always want a wide receiver 1. Now, am I going to get it? Probably not. But I'm always shooting for the moon, and I'm just going to send it and just see who's crazy. But in realistic expectations, I think a wide receiver 3, somebody that can probably plug in as a flex play, or as a bye week fill-in, or somebody that has upside going into the end of the season rather than now, then that's something that I would be interested in. Like maybe if we just play a little bit of a name game, if you had you hear talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown, there we go, perfect. Amon-Ra St. Brown injured now, and Jameson Williams has a couple more games left in that suspension. Are you trading Kyrien Williams for a Jameson Williams that may be really big for you at wide receiver? I mean, it's a
hold on to
question.
Kyrien Williams in that case, but I think I'm a bit higher on Kyrien Williams than consensus. I think I believe in his. He's got, if he stays involved in the receiving game like he was this past week, he's got top 15 RB upside. And so I like what I'm looking for is maybe that range of wide receiver that underperformed in week 1 or week 2. And so they're sitting lower in the rankings. And maybe you can snag them with some of that wide receiver one upside you're talking about.
What about I don't want to jump too high. What about a Jahan Dotson?
That's interesting. I think that's probably team dependent around where I'm drawing that line. Like if you drafted 0 RB and Kyrien Williams is starting in your lineup, I'm probably not making that move. But if Kyrien Williams is a bench piece for you right now, you got, I don't know, Christian McCaffrey and Ramondre Stevenson sitting up there, and you don't need to start Kyrien Williams week in, week out, then I think that's a fair move. What about Nico Collins, your boy down there?
I was just about to ask you, any of the 3 Texans wide receivers?
I think
I'm taking all 3. I think I'm taking all 3 for Nico. I think I'm taking all 3. If you offer me any of the 3, I think I would say yes.
I'm not doing it for Tank Dell or Robert Woods, but I'll do it for Nico Collins, who I think is the wide receiver 1 there.
Man, Rail, I wish I had you in a few of my leagues because I'm making that trade instantly.
Yeah. We've seen it. It sounds good, and we love to see it work. Are we committed to believing that the Rams are committed to running the football? I don't know. I feel like they want to pass the entire game. And as soon as they get an inkling that the run game is not working this game, they're so quick to abandon it or not give it the play call for it to succeed. And they're just like, all right, we're just going to win this one off Stafford again. So that's my only thing. It's not really the talent of Williams. It's more of the opportunity. And are the Rams willing to make him a featured back? Because it's been a while since we've seen a really, really strong feature back for the Rams. Like, I think we're going all the way back to Todd Gurley. And yeah,
I think that's maybe where like the valuation is. Like what I saw through 2 weeks is I think this Rams team is going to keep running Kyrien that way. I'm not scared of Zach Evans behind him. So there's some confidence that if they're going to run the ball, it's going to be through Kyrien Williams. And with Cooper Kupp coming back, this offense should get better. It's already better than we were expecting. So, but to your point, Terrell, we've seen this time and time again. Players come out, have a hot start to the season. We think they're going to be the dude. Clyde Edwards-Helaire did it last year. Was a top couple guy, and people would have said you were crazy for trading Clyde Edwards-Helaire for a wide receiver 3. And then by end of season, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was on every waiver wire that you could imagine. So while I believe in Kyrien Williams, I understand being willing to cash in at the beginning of the season after 2 hot weeks. I think I'm probably looking at the tier like
last one.
Zay Flowers. I think depending on how high people are on a Kyrien Williams, you could maybe shoot for one of these Baltimore receivers like a Zay Flowers.
So I was just about to say, that's the name I was going to throw out. Jordan Addison or Kyrien Williams. I feel like that's a pretty similar tier. Matter of fact, let's go to Steezy's side of us. Jackson Smith and Jigma or Kyrien Williams.
I'll take Kyrien Williams over JSN.
Yeah, I'm going Kyrien as well. Look, Terrell, brother, Kyrien Williams has been hyped up all offseason long throughout training camp. Sean McVay was talking about his involvement not only in the ground game, but in the pass game. And for me, I'm probably the highest on Kyrien out of all 3 of us on the show. But in a few dynasty leagues, I stashed him last year. And so I was a year early on Kyrien. I've always known about him as that guy who's going to catch passes out of the backfield. And like we saw in week 2, he had 10 targets, 6 catches for 48 yards and a touchdown. And so even if his work in a ground game is reduced slightly, I still think he is that team's preferred option as far as the running back catching passes out of the backfield. Zach Evans is not going to challenge him for that role. Matthew Stafford loves to check down. He loves, those guys that are running, those wheel routes, short to intermediate routes. Kyrien Williams is going to do all that. He is the goal line back. I think he's a low-end RB1 / high-end RB2. And just to give an example of a trade that I made yesterday, I traded Garrett Wilson and Kyrien Williams for Stephon Diggs.
There's some real value on Kyrien in that trade.
Right. And the person that traded for Kyrien just lost Nick Chubb. And so if I'm a fantasy owner and I'm looking to get off a Kyrien Williams, look for the team that just lost Nick Chubb or J.K. Dobbins. Right. And whatever their weaknesses are, or obviously it's going to be at running back, give them Kyrien Williams, give them somebody else on your bench. But if there was a wide receiver, and let's say the team that just lost Nick Chubb doesn't need Kyrien Williams. If I'm just looking to trade Kyrien Williams, I'm trying to sell high. I'm looking for guys like DK Metcalf. I'm looking for a guy like, who's another guy? Like we talked about earlier, Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers.
Maybe Calvin Ridley even after that disappointing week too.
Potentially, maybe you could do Kyrien for Garrett Wilson. I don't know if you want to do that.
I'm just not that high on him. I don't think he's that. I don't think he's a lock-loaded RB2. I think that he's a little bit closer to maybe back in RE2, maybe RB3, but I just don't support Rams running backs. How many times have we gone through this story where, and everybody in the chat's talking about he doesn't know who Kyrien Williams is. Well, I knew who Cam Akers was, and look what happened to him in the same amount of time. Like, I'm just saying, you are saying that, yeah, you're getting the opportunity. Just because you're a starting running back for a team doesn't mean you're going to be locked and loaded good, because just ask James Cook.
It happens. And Hal down here supporting your side, Terrell, saying McVay will switch running backs like I switch boxers. And I'm hoping, Hal, for your sake, I'm hoping you say you change your boxers a lot, and not that this is you saying you never change your underpants. Because you could be saying something entirely different than how we're interpreting that. We have one more question in here before we get into our next round. Gitz wanted to know, would y'all trade Breece Hall, Kareem Hunt, and Cooper Kupp for Tyreek Hill, Joe Mixon, and Deonta Foreman? I don't know about y'all, but I am taking the Hill, Mixon. I don't even need Foreman on here. I'm taking that and running.
Give me the 3 for 2.
Yeah,
I want to keep a roster spot. I don't need Foreman.
Yeah, and honestly, I can drop Foreman and pick up Roshan probably. So
if he's available,
yeah. So
easy.
Yeah, I would definitely take that deal 100%.
Because you got a maybe in Hunt. You got a player coming back from injury that we hope will come back in week 4 or week 5, right?
Running behind a terrible offensive line.
And then you got Breece Hall splitting work. Instead, you can get Mixon the clear lead back. Tyreek Hill, who anything less than wide receiver 1 on the season is probably going to be disappointing for fantasy managers. And then, again, a roster spot. There's value in that.
I look with Breece Hall. My bad. I was just going to say real fast with a Breece Hall. I mean, like you said, the offensive line, I think you was talking about Hall, right? The offensive line in New York is just, it's ghastly. And I mean, 4 carries. Come on, dog. He just had 12 touches for 140 plus scrimmage yards in week 1. And then now he gets 4 rushes. I mean, I don't know what's going on in New York, but it's a mess. So if you're able to offload him and then get back a Mixon, every single time.
And as high as I am on Kareem Hunt coming back to the Browns, we still don't know. I mean, again, the man was sitting right here next to me on the couch last week. So we honestly don't know. I know that Mixon, while they start slow, as the Bengals typically do, they're going to pick it up towards the end of the season. And we know Tyreek Hill is a wide receiver 1. Regardless, he's going to finish as a wide receiver 1. Absolutely. I love this trade.
Hal's all about it. He says do that twice a day. Get it done in all your leagues if you can. Well, guys, we got a close game here, 5-4, Steezy in the lead, but we're going to have time for at least one more round. We might be able to get both of them in there. You guys ready for this next one?
Yeah, let's do it.
We got a Thursday Night Football special on this one. A reminder, say your name if you think you want to play. What I need to know is name the 6 players with plus 250 odds or better to be an anytime touchdown scorer in the Giants at 49ers Thursday Night Football game.
6
Rel.
Okay, Rel, and a reminder, anytime touchdown score odds for anybody watching that doesn't know, this only counts if you catch or run the ball into the end zone. This is not a quarterback passing the ball into the end zone. It counts as the person who's controlling the ball as it enters the end zone.
Brock Purdy.
One second, let me pull up my answer key over here. Unfortunately, is not on this list.
What? At 250 or better, so you're saying 250, 300, 400, or are we going lower?
Going the other way. 250 or better, meaning more likely. That's my bad.
Okay. All right. Then that's easy. Debo.
Debo is second on this list at plus 110. That's going to be one strike and one correct so far.
So George Kittle, because he kills us, he's like plus 175. I've already bet that.
He's sitting at plus 190 on the FanDuel Sportsbook right now. That's going to be correct. You got two right, Rel. What's next?
Christian McCaffrey, of course. He's probably like minus something.
He is. He's the only one at minus odds, sitting at minus 280 to be an anytime touchdown score. That is nuts, man.
I would actually bet him not to score a touchdown at this point. Ayuk is questionable still, maybe. So let's go with Ayuk.
Ayuk at plus 110, sitting there tied with Deebo Samuel for second most likely, according to these odds.
I've hit all my. All right, so now we get into the Giants because I've hit the four big 49ers. Dan Jones.
Dan Jones is sitting at plus 250. That is absolutely correct. Right there on that line. The last one on the list. So you got one left.
This is easy. Let me get Waller the baller. I know he's under 250.
Darren Waller at plus 260 is incorrect. And your second strike by Terrell. Sitting there. He's right outside of that range.
I would have gone Waller too. Oh, I might have one.
There's one left. You got two strikes. If you get this, you get all 6 points. If you miss it, Steezy gets the opportunity to steal them. What are you thinking?
It can't be a 49er. There's no other 49er that should be that low of a price. Like, that's ridiculous if they disrespect us like that. There's no other 49er in that office that should be that low of a price.
You never know.
Breida? Matt Breida. Saquon's already ruled out, so it can't be Saquon. I'm going with Breida. Maybe they went the running back.
Sitting at plus 200. It is Matt Breida. Nice job. Pulled it out at the last second to get those 6 points, Terrell. And this Giants backfield's a little bit of a mess right now. We talked about it yesterday, but the sports books like Breida, it looks like, to be maybe the lead ball carrier there. Steezy, I'm going to throw this your way. Are you expecting Breida to carry the rock the most this coming Thursday night?
For this coming Thursday, yeah. I mean, he does have the familiarity in that system. He knows Brian Daboll, and I just think with some of the guys behind him in Eric Gray, the rookie 5th-round running back, and I think you also have a Gary Barnwell. Those guys are young. Those guys aren't nearly as experienced. They're not veterans. If the Giants find themselves getting blown out, then yeah, maybe they get some run, they get some opportunity, and if they're able to show off some skills and just some good things on the field, maybe they get some more run moving forward. But for as long as Saquon is out, and at least as far as this Thursday, Matt Breida is going to be the guy. But as far as efficiency or if he's even going to score, I don't know about that. Like in season long, I don't know if I even want to start him at my flex unless I'm absolutely desperate.
Terrell, I was with you with that shock around Darren Waller's line not being better than Daniel Jones, not being better than Matt Breida. Are you jumping on him at plus 260 for anytime touchdown score?
Jumping on 60. This is his favorite target, and he is absolutely down more, and I have the door for him for more fancy opportunities around. I think that instead of running Breida on the goal line, it's probably going to be Dan Jones himself. And I know somebody said it earlier in the chat, but Dan Jones 75 plus rushing yards at 7-1. I think that's a real bet for a 7-1. That's effectively best running back on the team now. And so I just don't think the opportunity is going to be there for Breida like it is there for Darren Waller.
Yeah, we had Better Boss in the chat earlier here. Our friend Matt coming in saying Daniel Jones over 75 rushing yards plus 700. He's liking that one. It sounds like Rel's agreeing with him there. It's not bad odds to get 75 rushing yards from Mr. $1 Million Maker Daniel Jones. All right, Terrell, you got a nice little lead right here, 10-5, but it is all going to come down to this last one. There are 7 points available, Steezy, so you are still within reach of winning this game. You guys ready?
Come on.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We're looking towards the future a little bit with this one. And what I want to know is name the 7 players with plus 1,200 odds or better to win AP NFL regular season MVP, according to the FanDuel Sportsbook.
Steezy.
Oh, Steezy's jumping in, trying to play it for the W. What you got, Steezy?
Okay. Man, so just to get just to get it clarified, This would mean that they're
12 to 1 or lower. So you want your 7 to 1s, your 6 to 1s, your 5 to 1s. Basically, your favorites. Who are your 7 favorites to win NFL MVP?
MVP. Okay, I just wanted to clarify, but I mean, I got to go Patrick Mahomes, right?
Patrick Mahomes sitting at plus 600 right now to win AP NFL MVP. That is going to be 1 correct, no strikes. What's next, Steezy?
Okay, and then let's go. Ooh, I don't know how high he's going to be on this list, but let's go Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill is not in the top 7 for season-long MVP, unfortunately. Okay, let's see what Tyreek Hill's sitting at. I can let you know here ever so shortly.
Okay.
He's way down there.
He's way down there. Okay, maybe I should have said his name for Offensive Player of the Year. I'm tripping for that. But let's go Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is sitting on this list at plus 1,000. A little bit lower than Patrick Mahomes or higher. I don't know how you're looking at it. So you got 1 strike, 2 correct, 5 remaining. What's next?
Let's go Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson sitting at plus 1,200 right there on that line. Going to be another 1 correct. That's 3 right, 1 strike.
Let's go Josh Allen.
Josh Allen at plus 1,000, tied there with Jalen Hurts for the 3rd best odds. That's 4 right, 1 strike.
Let's go Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence sitting at plus 1,200, tied there with Lamar Jackson. 4 MVP odds.
And this one's not a quarterback, but I'm gonna go Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey is unfortunately not on this list.
Okay, if Tyree, all right, no skill players aren't getting no love. All right, okay, so be it then. Let's go Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow
is
on this list at plus 1,200 right now.
Even now.
You are sniffing out.
No way Burrow is still that high.
He's still that high. Okay. See,
he had an 82 yard for. Okay. There's no MVP that had 82 yards that. Show me an MVP that had 82 yards in a game. Just
easy. It comes down to this. If you get this last one right, you are going to win this game, pull ahead by a score of 12-10. If you miss it, you got 2 strikes. Terrell's going to have an opportunity to steal, in which if he gets it, he will be the winner. Who's the last name on this list?
So this quarterback, it's down to these 2 quarterbacks, and they actually played against each other in week 1, and the Dolphins came away with a 2-point victory. Give me Tua Tagovailoa.
You narrowed it down to Justin Herbert and Tua Tagovailoa. And you pick the player with the best odds, plus 500. Tua Tagovailoa tops this list out for regular season MVP. Steezy, you're going to pull out the victory here by sweeping that final category. You guys cut it close, though, on every single one. All of you got 2 strikes on all 4 rounds and then pulled out the sweep. Whew, impressive game, but congratulations, Steezy, on pulling that one out. Bro, you had nothing but shock noises as Steezy kept naming these players, and I said, that is correct. That is correct. Who are you putting your money on here on this list to take home that AP NFL regular season MVP award?
I mean, it's hard not to look Tua's way right now. And I think the only thing that really can stop Tua is if he gets injured again. I mean, they're giving him every opportunity to win MVP by allowing him to throw the ball however he wishes down the field. And with the weapons that he has, the only thing that could go against them is if they don't win or at least close to the top of the AFC. That is the only thing that could possibly go against them. But with the slow start that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense has had, with the slow start that the Ravens have had, the slow start that the Bills have had, that Tua is deservedly the favorite right now. I think that he's worth a sprinkle, but I would not sleep on those other 3 quarterbacks because just because they started the season slow doesn't mean they can't pick it up from here on out.
No, you can't. I'm sitting there looking at Patrick Mahomes at plus 600 and just imagining week 10 where he's sitting down there at minus 100 after he just blows things up. Like, are we going to be shocked if Patrick Mahomes starts running away with this halfway through the season? No, I love Tua, but that's where my mind goes when I look at this list. I got that number pulled up for you, Steezy. Tyreek Hill at plus 5,000, Christian McCaffrey at plus 7,500. So you were right there.
They don't. It's quarterbacks, man. It's quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they'd have to have like a
offensive player of the year.
But hey, wait, what do y'all think though? If Tyreek Hill, because he talked about how he wants to be the first player to crack, 2,000 receiving yards, does he have a higher chance of winning MVP? Y'all think, or is that just a shoe in for offensive player of the year?
Man, the problem is going to be if he's got 2,000 receiving yards,
Tua's got 2,000 passing yards. Tua's got 2,000 extra passing yards to pad his stats. It's going
to be hard for him to beat
offensive player of the year. That's really the stat that when you look at, Derrick Henry and how I think, did he hit 2,000 or he was close to 2,000? How well Derrick Henry ran the ball that year, that he had an amazing year. And you think about what Justin Jefferson has done, like all the skill position players, they've already set a precedence that no matter how good you are, you're not going to beat out a quarterback.
Yeah. And to your point, Tyreek Hill currently has the third best odds, sitting ever so slightly behind Christian McCaffrey and Justin Jefferson for AP NFL Offensive Player of the Year. He's at plus 750. We got CMC and J. Jeff at plus 650 a piece sitting right there. We got a fact in here from our producer Keith, fact checking us on the spot, saying it is not always quarterbacks, because in the 1982 shortened strike season, kicker Mark Mosley, who went 20 for 21 on field goals, was the league's MVP in 1982.
He missed one?
Yeah, he missed one, and he was still MVP.
What was the one he missed? How you win MVP and you miss one? That's all you had to do.
I bet it was from 27 yards. Like, he made all the 50 yarders, gets up there for the chip shot and just misses it.
I want to know which one. I'm curious. What was the distance of the one he missed? Was it blocked? Was it not? If it was blocked, okay, I get it. It might not have been your fault.
Understandable.
I'm very curious on what happened with the lone miss there in the MVP season.
Wait, I hate to take us off. Oh, go ahead, Steezy.
Sorry, real quick, Keith. If you can though, are you able to just give us the best statistical output of some of the quarterbacks or skill position players? I understand they didn't pass a lot back then, but if these quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers are letting a kicker outperform you, then wow, I don't know what happened during that season. I almost feel like any of us could have been on the field, damn, they win MVP too. But no disrespect to the kicker, but damn.
Yeah, let me kick a couple field goals. Yeah, let us know, Keith, if you figure out what those stats were looking like. Speaking of blocked field goals, I hate to take us fully off track here, but that Patriots blocked kick was just gorgeous, man, over the weekend. The dude timing that sprint from the outside, running in, and the announcers couldn't shut up about it. They were like, oh boy, never seen that before. I've been talking football for 20 years. They never seen somebody try that. And they just kept going on and on and on. Bill Belichick always does something stupid on special teams, and I love it.
Do you think we'll see it more across the NFL?
Yeah, they're going to try it. We'll see to varying degrees of success, but it's going to be that timing that makes it a little bit difficult. We'll see some definite offsides from that as well. No doubt. We had a question in here from 32-bit, wanted to know, what can I get from Michael Thomas and Marquise Brown? So if you're packaging those two wide receivers, trading them away, Terrell, what are you looking to get in return? Maybe upgrade at wide receiver, 2 for 1, or go cross positional?
It depends on what you need. It's so funny because I actually have a roster where I have Michael Thomas and Marquise Hollywood Brown on the bench. And somebody tried to send me a trade request earlier today for Garrett Wilson. And what was it? It was Drake London. And I immediately thought of Steezy. And I almost broke my finger trying to hit the X button. Like, that's how quick I tried to hit that X button on that trade. And so I said, all right, I'll send a counter offer. And I said, let me get Michael Thomas, and I'll give you Michael Thomas and Chiga Kongwu for Darren Waller. We'll just see what he said. He denied it, of course, but I mean, I am considering, because he does need wide receiver help, of sweetening that deal for Thomas and Hollywood Brown, because I'm pretty stacked on receiver here, and throwing both of those for a Darren Waller. Like, I'm very much considering it, because that's a position of need for me, and that would really take my team to the next level. And I have the depth at wide receiver on my bench that I'm not afraid of losing 2 extra bench guys, and I don't think I'm making them that much better. So I think it really depends on roster makeup, but I would shoot for as much as you can, because I think that Michael Thomas is a little underrated here. Like, he's going to be a consistent fantasy option as long as he's out on the field.
Steezy, you valuing these guys similarly?
Yeah, so actually I have Michael Thomas in my home league, and I'm looking to get rid of him for this guy. So if you guys are tuned in, pay attention and listen closely. If you need a running back and you have depth at wide receiver, in which I have, a lot of y'all probably do, I would look to trade Michael Thomas and Marquise Brown for Alvin Kamara, because once Alvin Kamara comes back, he's going to serve one more game on his suspension. Maybe you could throw in another running back or 3 or 2. I mean, but I think for me, if I'm getting rid of Michael Thomas and Marquise Brown together, I'm looking to get Alvin Kamara in exchange. I don't care how stacked I am at running back. I just think once Kamara comes back, I mean, he'll be healthy, he'll be refreshed, he'll have the best offense he's had around him in years. Yeah, I'm looking at Alvin Kamara, or even the guy we were talking about earlier, Kyrien Williams, possibly.
Yeah, I love both of those calls, especially the Kamara one. Make that move before the value starts skyrocketing. I'm curious what you guys think about this one, because that Packers offense has looked much better than I thought it was going to. The Packers passing game with Jordan Love at quarterback has looked much better than I thought it was going to. And they got an injured wide receiver coming back soon as well that in my mind is a tier above both of these guys. Would you trade Chris Olave and Marquise Brown for Christian Watson before he comes back from injury? Or is that too low for you?
Well, so
I'm saying trade away both of these guys, package Michael Thomas and Marquise Brown for Christian Watson.
I don't know if I want to package both of them. I think maybe a running back, maybe a low end running back with Thomas, or maybe something of equal value in running back wise to Hollywood Brown. But I don't know. I don't think that I would trade both of those, because I just feel like I could potentially actually be getting more from Michael Thomas than Christian Watson. Like this hamstring thing could re-aggravate and could come back up. Like just because he comes back for one game doesn't mean he's there. So I actually don't think I'm making the Michael Thomas trade at all. I would consider Hollywood Brown and packaging another player with them for Watson though.
Move Hollywood Brown plus something else for Watson. You're more in line with him, Steezy?
Yeah, because I think right now, even straight up, I wouldn't even do MT for Christian Watson, just because now we're seeing Jaden Reed getting involved. We've seen Romeo Doubs involved. Once Aaron Jones comes back, he's going to be involved in the pass game. And so I still think there's room for Christian Watson to eat. But like Rel was saying, I mean, hamstring injuries do linger. He does rely on his speed to get down the field. And so until I really see him, I can't do MT for even Christian Watson straight up. I could probably do Hollywood Brown for Watson straight up if they're willing to take that. But if I got to add another piece to Hollywood Brown, then I'll do Hollywood Brown, a smaller piece for Watson. That's what I'll do.
That's fair. That makes sense. Maybe I'm a little high on Watson. If you're in any leagues with me and you got Christian Watson, maybe send me some trade offers. Before we go, we got the hot stats from that 1982 season. The best quarterback that year was Dan Fouts, throwing for 2,883 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. And Keith coming in giving us some more stats about the kicking. The kicking percentage average that year was in like the 70s, 70 percentile range, and he hit 95%, long from 48, missed one just under 49. So it was the longest attempt of the season that he missed as well. So you know what? Shout out Mark Mosley, 1982 NFL MVP. You earned it. And Dan Fouts, step your 1982 game up, because that was yours to lose, baby. All right, well, guys, that is going to be it for us today. We'll be back next week, so make sure you're tuned in and subscribe to Sportstopia HQ on YouTube. Check them out on Instagram and on X as well. We'll be back next week, like I said. I'm Simon, joined by Steezy and Terrell. Until then, though, we are out of here. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy Thursday Night Football, and we'll see you in week 4.
Peace.